The Last of Us is an experience with one of the best stories in gaming, and with the TV show now out, one could argue ever. With the heartwarming tale of Joel and Ellie and their ever-growing relationship in a harsh world, to the heartbreaking story of how Ellie deals with the loss of Joel when he's gone. But that isn't the only story told in the games. Throughout the many journeys our characters take in the game, they stumble across a variety of interesting characters and locations with their own stories to tell. So join me in exploring one of my favourite side stories in The Last of Us, and one the show barely hinted at: the Sewer Society. After escaping the hunters occupying Pittsburgh, taking a small dip in the river and being rescued by Henry and Sam, Joel, Ellie and the lads continue their journey toward the radio station where Henry and Sam's group will, apparently, be waiting for them. It's here when we start to learn about the people who were here before us.
Hey, maybe we can find something in that boat over there.
Way ahead of you, kid.
Joel and Ellie discover a beached boat while searching for a way off said beach, clearly having been there for a while.
Whoa.
What?
First time on a boat.
Well, it's a little bit different in the water.
One step at a time.
While searching for supplies, they discover a note from the person who parked his boat up here. Well, it looks like I've dodged the chaos and the mayhem long enough. My time out at sea is coming to an end. I'm short on supplies and this boat has seen better days. And you know what? This is bound to happen sooner or later. I guess it's time to see what's left of mankind. What could possibly go wrong, right? If you happen to find my skeleton, please don't step on my skull. Thanks. Ish. From the looks of things, there's been a survivor biding his time out on the water while the world collapsed around him. Not a bad strategy in the apocalypse, and given the lack of anyone else on the boat with him that we know of, it looks like he had this as his go-to once everything went down. With supplies dwindling and the boat being worse for wear, however, he had to depart the safety of the sea and move on inland, crashing the boat upon this beach.
Hey, Ellie! I think we found something.
Let's go see what it is.
Henry and Sam find a sewer drain the crew can use to cross from the beachfront and onto the radio station. Now there is a skeleton beside the drain, and you might be mistaken for thinking that this is our intrepid sailor. But alas, this isn't all there is to Ish's story. Be a short video if it was. We make our way through the sewer and the crew split up across two lanes. Joel and Ellie encounter a maintenance area, and after some sus behaviour from Ellie, we gain access to it.
And voila.
Inside there's a few supplies strewn around, a notice board covered in newspaper clippings relating to post-outbreak events, and another note from our boy Ish. I'm gone for a few months and the world doesn't waste any time going to shit. Everywhere you turn there's infected and non-infected trying to kill you. Mankind is back to the food chain, baby. I'm kinda shocked I've survived this long. These sewers seem pretty safe. Limited exits and entrances make it easier to defend, and if anyone gets in here, I could lose them in the maze. I might not be tough, but I am quick. Maybe I just need to bide my time down here until it all gets sorted up there. I think I'll become a sewer mole man for a while. Wish me luck. Ish. Looks like Ish found his way into this sewer following his landing, set up a base of operations here in this room, and decided to go out and grab some newspapers so that he can catch himself up on what he missed while at sea. With the whole world still being mad with both infected and non-infected, with non-infected posing a threat to our agile boy-ish, he decides it would be best if he holes up in the sewers until it all blows over. Our crew move on through the sewers, and while finding a way across a lake, Joel stumbles upon some of the finer residents of this abode.
Oh, shit.
We find a note in the room where it looks like someone has yet again set up a small base for themselves. The note reads, "Yesterday I met some people that did not want to shoot me on sight. Shocking, I know. We traded some supplies and went on our merry way. They had kids with them and they seemed pretty scared. I almost told them about this place. What if they're like the others? What if... You know what? I don't care. What's the point of surviving if you don't have someone to laugh at your corny jokes? Tomorrow, I'm going to search for them. See if they want to join me in here. Ish." It seems Ish has found himself a new home deeper within the sewers, and is even about to make some friends. Maybe that's who these clickers are. Moving on, the crew work through more of the sewers, finding a small outpost nestled into an offshoot, with a deck chair and some supplies, and then a set of doors, with a bunch of children's drawings covering the walls around us, a castle. Ish's very own fortress of solitude? Did he manage to get his friends from the last note to come with him? Looks like it. The group trigger a sound alarm crossing into the settlement, and exploring further they find boards stating the community's rules. Some weapons, including a new shotgun for Joel, supplies, and the clear influence of a fair-sized group having lived here. Sam and Ellie get to play some footy where they set up a goalpost. We see toys strewn about and some lockers for storage. Heading deeper into the camp, they hear infected further ahead.
You hear that? Infected.
Shh. Quiet.
Plying on to another abandoned outpost, they get ambushed by a bunch of infected.
Look out!
Well, I guess we know what happened to these people.
Seeing how there was a clicker, they've been gone for a while.
This community clearly didn't end in happiness, it seems. They find a water treatment area and a long dead skeleton. There's also another note.
Hey Susan, I just wanted to drop you a quick line and say these rain catchers were a great idea. Super smart to gather water without leaving the place. I hope you don't mind, but I gave the kids a couple of water guns. So of course, I've been drenched all day. If you don't want them to have it, let me know and I'll take them back. See you at dinner tonight. Fair warning though, Kyle's making his special meatloaf again. Ish.
And with that we get some confirmation that Ish did indeed get those friends. Susan, Kyle and the kids. A budding wee community indeed. Moving on through, we end up in a room that looks like a child's nursery or playroom. Etched in chalk on the ground it states they didn't suffer. And in the corner of the room we see a tarp with bodies under it. And beside that we have an adult skeleton alongside a scribbled note.
We're trapped. I think everyone else is dead. Some of the little ones are with me. I got infected pounding at the door. I don't know how long we'll hold out. If Ish and the others are alive, maybe they can reach us. They have to reach us. If it comes down to it, I'll make it quick. Kyle.
Jesus.
Our first note that's not from Ish, but Kyle, the fellow with the meatloaf from the previous note. Sadly, that appears who this adult skeleton is, and given the chalk writing, this note, and what's beside Kyle, unfortunately, it did come down to it. While passing into the next section of the sewers, Joel triggers yet another trap, separating him and Sam from Ellie and Henry.
So, this is awkward.
The two end up locked in the old living quarters for the majority of this community, alongside what looks to be the majority of the community itself. After fighting through a bunch of the infected trapped in here with them, we can look around the area. There's a bunch of storage up on pallets, cages that appear to have held livestock for the group, a bunch of different living quarters, water irrigation, and communal cooking and dining areas, bathing areas, etc. We end up at what looks like a school.
Look at this place. It's like a classroom. Why couldn't they keep it safe?
Son, I wish I knew. God knows they didn't deserve it.
Alongside another note. Joel and Sam link back up with Ellie and Henry, infected closing in. They're forced to run up to the other side of the sewers and back to the surface via another maintenance area. And if they're holding off the infected while Sam and Ellie move whatever's blocking the door, Joel and Henry make it back into the open air and are issued a warning.
Fresh air. Look at this.
Oh, are you fucking kidding me? Thanks for the warning on the other side, guys.
Free from the sewers and its many inhabitants, we can find one more note relating to the group in one of the nearby suburban households.
Another night, another shooting. I could see the muzzle flashes coming from the Carsons' windows. I stayed up the entire night with the whole family in one room. I doubt anybody got any sleep. It's only a matter of time before the looters try to break into our house. We have to get out of here. That skinny man approached us again. He traded more of his bullets for some of our food. He offered us to join him in his hideout. He says it's secure and more importantly, hidden. Easily defendable, is how he described it. He said that the only reason he trusts me is because I have kids. I don't think we can stay here anymore. He seems like a trustworthy guy. I'm gonna suggest to everyone tomorrow that we take him up on his offer. Kyle.
And so that's all we get of this tragic tale of Ish and his community. So let's piece these events together. Ish was a Finn man who jumped on his old trawler boat at the start of the outbreak, escaping to the open waters for an unspecified amount of time, more than likely a few months to a year at most. Eventually, due to a lack of supplies and the degrading quality of the boat, Ish decides he's better to chance it on land than stay and go down with the ship. He docks onto the beach and finds the sewer entrance, settling into one of the maintenance rooms while waiting for everything to just blow over. He finds some newspapers to document the fall of society while he scavenges outside, and as time goes on, he sets up further areas for himself deeper into the sewers so they can have a sleeping bag, some books and supplies, as well as a board covered in cruise and boating pictures, probably as a reminder of his old life where he could potentially go to all these places, and could still go to if he found a working boat again. While out scavenging for supplies, he finds Kyle and his family hiding out in their old home. After a few treks of trading some resources with them, he reflects, thinking they may make good friends for survival with him inside the sewers. And while he's a bit apprehensive at revealing the location of his very secure hideout, the need for some company outweighs that, and he invites the family into his home. During those events, Kyle and his family are holed up in their suburban house while the world falls apart all around. Their area had been a frequent one for looters to come by and ransack for supplies, and as the nights dragged on, Kyle had to sit by and wait as each subsequent house in his neighbourhood was sacked and the people inside killed. When Ish stumbles across them and offers them trade and the prospect of a safer place to stay, Kyle and his family are more than ready to take that jump, as they know it won't be long until it's them who are the target of the looters. So Kyle takes Ish up on his offer, and the family come with him to the sewers. As time goes on in the sewer community, it gets better and better. Susan, Kyle's wife, sets up rain catchers for the community to have fresh water without ever leaving the safety of the sewers. The group set up play areas for the kids, they have communal dinners every night together, and eventually, some new folk join them in the community. We know of Dan from the kids' picture, but due to just how much expanding the group did and the number of beds they have with them, it's clear to see that the community became a fairly sizable one, with the group establishing a slew of rules for the community, a massive amount of storage, and even livestock with pigs and chickens. God knows how that worked in a sewer. I suppose the smell can't get any worse. Safe to say that for a while this community thrived. They were all good people, and they were all coming together to do good. A fully functioning subterranean society with farming, schools, a fairly happy morale if the pictures on the walls and earlier notes are to be believed. Despite all that though, it just wasn't to last. While we don't get a bunch of information on what caused the community's fall, it seems as though the community was either beset by the infected who swarmed the place and took out all of the inhabitants therein, rendering most infected, or the other option, that someone in the group managed to get infected in a classic fashion, didn't tell anybody, and eventually turned, and ended up causing the total collapse of the community from the spread of the infection. We can glean this from the untriggered alarms around the facility to the southern nature of the downfall, how an area goes from thriving to all gone the next day. All roads point to the group being completely unaware of the impending attack until it was far too late. Kyle had to scurry and hole up alongside the kids in the playroom, not knowing where Ish was at the time, but hoping that he could save them. Sadly, however, Ish never came, and Kyle had to resort to the last option as infected pounded the door and had to end both himself and the kids. In a sense, this was a mercy, so they didn't have to get ripped apart by infected when they break down the door. The tale is a tragic one, something commented on by our crew in the game at multiple points, but it goes a long way in showing what this world is like. Even when you think you have everything sorted out, that you've beat the system, that just isn't the case, and the easiest slip up can cause the ruin of the life you've managed to carve out. It would have been cool to get to see Ish and his community while they were thriving. Getting to imagine what it would have been like in the game is one of the best parts of this side story. You can see clear evidence throughout of what this community was, and that makes their fall even more tragic. Now sadly the show doesn't get to explore this other than a short scene in an area reminiscent of the sewers and a picture. But it still remains one of the best examples in The Last of Us of the world building and storytelling that these games deliver. And it's only told through some notes and with excellent environmental storytelling. Well, there we go. That's the sewer story. I hope you all liked this video. I really enjoyed making it, and I loved getting to go back into The Last of Us to explore this very specific section of the game. A couple things before you go. If you made it this far, thank you so much. You're absolutely fantastic, and I appreciate you watching the video this way. If you have made it this far, go down in the comments. Let me know a couple things. Let me know how many times I said sewers in this video. Wonder if you get it right. And let me know what your favorite Last of Us side story is. It could be anything from a specific character to something akin to this, where it's only told to us through the environment and through notes. I'd really love to hear what your guys' favourite are, and I may potentially make some videos on them if this one does well. And if you like the video, you know, just if you could, throw it a wee like, it's always appreciated. Throw us a wee subscription, that's always beneficial. And turn that notification bell on, because I never seem to upload on a schedule, and having that wee bell on means that you always get notified of when I go live. But anyway, folks, I appreciate you all being here. It's been fantastic having you. Hope you have a great rest of your day, evening, whatever it is. See you later. Peace out.